The city is offering the Fair Park homeowners two smallest prices for their homes. The dirt itself is worth much more than what the city is offering, and we can't. With the money that the city is offering the Fair Park homeowners, we can't go out and replace ourselves with the money that they're offering. Everything is up. The interest rates and what have you are up much more than when we bought the homes, and they're actually offering prices less than what we paid for them when we bought them 10 and 15 years ago, and we just can't. With what they're offering now, we just can't relocate ourselves with other homes. There is one lady that did sell to the city. She sold to the city for $8,000. She did have a balance on her note of $1,000 and something dollars, which she expected to be taken out. But when they finished with all the cost of what have you, I don't know all the details, but whenever they finished, she had a balance of $5,000 left, and she tried to buy a home, and the only thing that she could find was $9,000 and something, and she will have to just start all over again. And this is a widow lady, and the loan was at 10% interest, whereas I think it was maybe 5 or 6% before. And it means that she, being a widow lady, will just have to the rest of her life, just start working on paying for a home, and you don't know how you can even do that.
Oh, it's always possible, but there was a good, strong feeling yesterday from the information that I picked up from talking to the various committee people that they want a consensus candidate.
Would you like to be the state chairman? Your name has been mentioned.
The only way that I would give it serious consideration is if they do what I think they will, and that is find a consensus candidate. All elements of the party look toward one man. Whether it be me or not is not important first. I think it must be a consensus candidate.
What do you think the possibility is that you will get the job?
Oh, that's very difficult to say.
In other words, who else is in the running?
There are other people that are interested, but I don't think you can say that they're actually running. They've made notice that yes, they'd like to have the job, but they're not, in a sense, campaigning for it.
Would you name those people?
Millard Neptune has expressed an interest. Doug DeCluett. Now, these are not people who expressed interest to me, but
yes,
what I've heard. Doug DeCluett from Waco and Bill Steger from Tyler.
That is, employers who have direct contact with the city or who do business with the city in one fashion or another. Again, a rather subtle form of pressure, but nevertheless real, because if your job perhaps is at stake, you may have a tendency to give in to this kind of pressure and go on and sell for a price that is perhaps 30 to 60% below what it ought to be. Another complaint is that there have been many gas meters yanked up pulled up by the gas company in the homes or on the property of homes that have not been purchased. Now, in the 3 cases that we have documented, the answer or the response here was simply that this was a mistake or a matter of a mistaken house number. Yet, those of you who live in the area and those of us who are familiar with this know that when the city purchases a piece of property, they paint these large yellow numbers on the house, so it seems rather difficult to believe that there would be a mistake made on the part of the gas company in pulling up these meters. Now, in each case, the company came back and replaced them, but you can imagine the kind of frustration that you would feel if something like this happened to you. And in one case, the homeowner was standing out there begging the gas company employee not to pull up the meter, that they were making a mistake, and yet it was yanked up, dug up anyway. Another
The differences there obviously were some because of the vote, but I don't think it's going to have any effect ultimately in the party.
This is somewhat unusual for the Republicans to have what has been called a bitter fight. Usually you've sat back and watched the Democrats split themselves.
This is true. I don't think this can be classified as a split because Peter O'Donnell has been our state chairman for going on his 7th year. He's done a fine job, and I know he'll do equally a good job as national committeeman. And one man, regardless of your capabilities, tend to lose effectiveness in one particular position if you stay there. And I think it's wise for him to move on to the next one, next job available, and this was. And obviously, Al Fay was ready to step out because he'd been committeeman for 8 years.
But actually, he asked that he be reelected. He wanted the job again.
He indicated this to the people, but he was not then placed in nomination. The 21 votes were to indicate their support for Al Fay, but his name was not. That was 21 votes against O'Donnell, but actually just indicating their support for Fay.
So you're acting like and talking like that this is really not going to hurt the GOP in Texas.
Well, first, as I'll say, I hope it will not, and secondly, I don't see really how that it could, because the next thing we have to do is get us a new state chairman, because Peter obviously has to resign, and a good harmony